All right, peace and blessings, and welcome to another episode of YB's Collaboration Corner. I'm your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days. This is the Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast, YB Collaboration Corner Special Edition, and I have the pleasure of sitting with Ginger Fitchett. Ginger and I are connected on various social media platforms. I'll give her an opportunity to tell you about herself. Ginger, welcome to YB's Collaboration Corner. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm fantastic today.
Excellent. I love your energy. Your bubbly spirit has me excited. As we go into this holiday season. So, Ginger, tell us, where are you from, and tell us just a little bit about yourself.
So I am from New York, and everybody always gets excited. They're like, "Okay, what borough?" And I'm like, "I'm not from New York City. I'm actually a little bit north of the city. So I'm from Rockland County, and let's see, I am a podcaster. I am a new speaker. I am a mom. I am a nurse. I'm a lot of things."
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. You see, because I was about to ask you if you didn't clarify, I was gonna say, okay, what part of New York are you from? Because
Yeah.
I'm from the Bronx, right? And so we have this thing. Oftentimes, people from the five boroughs, we tend to kind of hold court when it comes to people saying that they're from New York, and then they might say, I'm from Albany. And they say, well, you're not from New York, you're from Albany. So then people go back and forth, like Albany's in New York, and Schenectady is in New York, Rockland County's in New York. Like, yeah, but New York is the five boroughs, right? So let's just talk about where you're from. If you're from Long Island, say you're from Long Island. Don't say you're from New York, because Long Island is Long Island, right? So I know there's some people that's watching and listening. They beg to differ,
Yeah.
but we New Yorkers from the five boroughs, we're very special people. So very special.
I know. My mom is from the Bronx and my dad is from Brooklyn. So
Oh, okay. Well, that's what's up. Well, you get love. You get love either way. You get love either way. It's funny because I transitioned from Bronx, New York to Richmond, Virginia. And so when you meet people from different parts of the country, people will tell you where they're from, but they're really from someplace else, right? So
yep.
I used to meet people they used to say, I was like, where you from? They say, I'm from DC. I say, what part of DC? They say, Lorton. I say, Lorton, okay, where's Lorton? Oh, it's in Northern Virginia. I later find out, you're not from DC, man. You're from Northern Virginia. Totally different location. They're like, well, I didn't know if you knew where I was from. It doesn't matter. Tell the people where you're from. Represent.
Where I'm from, it's so small. And then I don't know, I'm just, you just
No, it don't matter. We big people. You big people. You know what I'm saying? Here's the reality. You might be the most famous person to come from Rockland County. You feel me? You gotta rep your county. You gotta rep it. So you mentioned a couple of things, right? So you mentioned that your mom, your new speaker, your nurse. Talk about just how did you get to nursing, and then how did nursing turn into speaking and podcasting? Let's talk a little bit about your career for a second. How did you get into nursing, and then how did that turn into speaking and podcasting?
Okay, so this is definitely a story. I just remember being in high school. I'm always looking ahead to the next big thing, like where am I going to go to college? What am I going to major in? Always just the next big thing. And so in high school, I was walking around saying I was going to be an engineer. I didn't even know what that meant. I just knew they made good money. And I've always been a big science and math girl.
Right.
So I was like, perfect. I'm making money. I'm doing things I like. This should be good. But I actually had no idea what an engineer does or is. And now I know there's so many different types of engineers.
Yeah.
But as a girl, and even now, I mean, I've always loved New York City. Like I told you, my mom is from the Bronx. My dad is from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I grew up going to church in Brooklyn. And then we'd always go through all the boroughs, see all the relatives on Sunday. And so I just loved being in New York City. It just does something for me.
I love it.
I used to say when I was a naive child that didn't know about parking and expenses that I want to live in New York City. Now I do not want to live in New York City, but I love visiting. But I just knew I wanted to be near New York City. And so my dad is really supportive, and whatever I say I want to do, I'm not so much big on details, but he is. So he'll do research and get information for me. So he found this list on Yahoo this is like over a decade ago now. Was it a decade? Oh, almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
It was the top paying jobs for whatever for that year, and certified registered nurse anesthetist was on the list. And so I was like, all right, nurse anesthetist makes good money, and I like science and I like people. So this sounds, and I love helping people. So I'm like, this sounds like a good fit for me. I wasn't thinking like as big as I think now at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So where I was at that point in my life, it sounded like a good idea.
Uh-huh.
So I started researching how you become a CRNA, and the first step is nursing school. And so I applied to nursing schools, and I played college basketball. I knew that it's not really popular to do nursing school and go D1. So I tried to find a happy medium where I could play ball, and the coaches, even some coaches that are not supportive of nursing majors on their team, but
Right.
I was blessed to find the right program that supported me as a future nurse and also let me do my thing on the court, kind of, because I didn't really play a lot, but
But you was on the squad though. So you
yeah.
had some burns. So you attended the College of Mount St. Vincent, correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
in
good.
Riverdale.
Yeah, that's up in New York. I
Not the
believe.
Bronx, I think. It's
Oh,
Riverdale.
okay, yeah, no doubt. So you played ball or was on the team and pursued your nursing. And once you finished undergrad, you eventually became a registered nurse, correct?
Yeah, right after. But the transition in my mindset happened in college.
Uh-huh.
My freshman year of playing college ball, I had an amazing coach, Kevin Clifford. I have to say his name because he's a very special man.
Yeah.
And our very first game, I want to say we might have been in Virginia. I don't know, but he played The Guru Story by E.T.
Oh.
And yeah, when you
No doubt. Oh, no doubt.
breathe.
If you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, that's right.
That was the first time I ever saw that video. So that was 2014.
Okay.
And then fast forward to my junior year of college, I went through a breakup and I was like, I'm done with these boys. I'm gonna focus on me and what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I started looking into what kind of life do I see for myself after college, and that led me into personal development in ET. Okay. And I became like a die hard Secrets to Success podcast every week. I joined BU in 2017, Breathe University, and all that. And I became aware of this world of entrepreneurship, and I never looked back. I was like, I want this for myself.
Yeah.
And so I would have honestly, I tell myself that if I had found out about entrepreneurship and owning a business and investing and all that good stuff sooner, I probably would have not gone to college. But I was already almost there to get my degree. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna finish this and I'll use nursing to get me to where I want to go.
Yeah.
And that was always my mentality. Yes, I have this nursing degree and I can make good money with it, but I have bigger dreams and I have plans. And so I did work as a nurse, bedside nurse I stopped working in 2020. I haven't been working for a year now as a nurse because I've been focusing on being a mom and pouring into my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how that happened. I realized I want to be an entrepreneur. I realized I want to help people. I want to work with young girls. I want to work with women. I want to change lives. I don't want to just work a job and make money. You can even see the transition when I look back to what I said was my goals from 2017. It was all material stuff, go on vacation, get a Louis Vuitton shoes or whatever, a Louis Vuitton bag. It was very surface level,
right?
And it was all about me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had this awareness of the impact and the power that I have to touch other people's lives, it changed the game. So that's how that all happened.
No, I love what you're saying, because you're speaking directly to a group of people that I love to talk to, and those are college students. Those are people who recently graduated from college who, they're looking to discover themselves. And you're right. I think a lot of us felt like, if I would have found out about entrepreneurship before college, I probably would have gone. What I realized though, and I was listening to, might have been a podcast or audiobook, and what I realized was that college is more than just going to get a job, right? It's about it's three assets or three things that you get from going to college. Number one is the personal relationships that you develop, right? So there's certain relationships, whether it's, dudes that break your heart or guys who, ball teams or whatever, coaches, but you get those experiences because what happens is as you go through life, you're going to end up relating to different people. And it's difficult to relate to people if you've never experienced life, right? And so what college helps you to do is experience life through the lens of relationships that you build. But number two is the personal development, right? So the person you was when you first came to college, you weren't that person when you graduated, right? So totally different, but a lot of it had to do with your experiences. And then it's the lessons that you learn about your profession, right? So it's the skill sets that you acquire. And I think what's important is for people to understand that. And a lot of folks are, well, I don't need to invest all that money to get that. But it creates a structure. You know what I'm saying? It creates a structure. Would I do it all over again? Probably would. Maybe you would do the same thing. Maybe I probably interact with some different people, but talk a little bit about, so you entered into entrepreneurship, right? You've been focusing on your family, focusing on your business, focusing on impact, which I love so much. But talk about the work that you do now. So what does your business consist of? Obviously, you say you're a new speaker, you do podcasts. Talk a little bit about your podcast, but what does your business consist of today? What is it that you do?
So my business is very much still in works. I've taken this past year to just lay the foundation and get the structures and the systems in place as much as I can. So the plan is to connect with, like you said, college age people, even high schoolers. And I want to do like workshops and events to just encourage vision and goals and creativity and relationships. So I believe first is the relationship with yourself. You work on that first, and then out of that flows all the relationships around you.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to create programs and materials to help walk young people through that, because I feel like the earlier the better. I was talking to a I think he's a middle school teacher, and I think he coaches high school girls basketball. And he was saying how, we have like a counselor and they work with people who have been the youth that have been identified as blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but why don't we be proactive about this? So that's where I'm headed and looking to branch into, I guess you could say. And then I started my podcast in 2018. And it's called Get Up 10 Podcast, which is named after Cardi B, but I do not, I'm not endorsing her. But at the time.
Wait, help me understand. So you say Get Up 10, right?
Yeah.
It's called Get Up 10 Podcast. Is after Cardi B. How is that connected? Because I guess I'm out of the range, even though I'm from the Bronx. So I'm still, I got a couple gray hairs. For those who are listening, I'm pointing to my chin. I got a bunch of gray hairs, so I may not understand what these young whippersnappers is talking about. So what's the relation between the name of your podcast and Cardi B?
Yeah, so I was introduced to Cardi B in college before she is the artist that she is now. I'll call her an entertainer.
Okay.
I use her as entertainer.
Yeah.
And in college, my roommate showed me her, and then I just watched her career like explode very quickly over the past few years.
Yeah.
And so she had a song that she put out called Get Up 10.
Okay.
And the whole what's the word I'm thinking of? The whole point or message of the song is knock me down 9 times, but I get up 10.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm big on resilience. I like that. Yeah, resilience is like one of my core values for sure.
So let me ask you a question. Have you had Cardi B on your podcast yet?
I don't know if I could do all that, but not yet.
I'm speaking that for you. So we talking about collaboration. I'm gonna speak that for you. I'm gonna speak that in the next 2 years. I'm giving you 2 years, right?
All right.
You're gonna have Cardi B on your podcast. I'm gonna speak that. Yeah, listen, y'all. You heard it here first on the YB's Collaboration Corner, Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast. Ginger's gonna have Cardi B on the Get Up 10 podcast. I'm speaking that in advance. Come on, let's go.
I'm here for it. And the other aspect of me naming my podcast after Cardi's, because not only has she been able to attain success
Yeah.
in a huge way, but she's done it authentically. She
Mhm.
hasn't been perfect. She hasn't always been like made like makeup perfect, hair like all that. She's kept it real,
Yeah.
like maybe a little bit too real.
Oh
And
yeah, way
I
too
love
real. Yeah.
that. I love
Yes.
that because a lot of people let perfectionism and making sure appearances are all where they should be, let that stop them from doing what they want to do. And she's such an example that you really don't have to.
Yeah.
So that's the story behind the name of my podcast.
No, I love that completely. And the fact that you have that story, just keep telling it, right? Keep telling it, because as you tell the story, like every time you tell it, you might get tired of it, but understand there's people that haven't heard that story. And so when somebody might take it and they might be related to Cardi B and say, listen, we got to get you on this girl's podcast. We got to get this on this young lady's podcast, right? So talk about, what is your definition of collaboration? So now that you have your podcast, now that you're looking for ways to impact young girls and young people, to elevate them and impact them, inspire them, what is your definition of collaboration?
Collaboration is, I guess, it's all about other people. I know there's this mentality of like self-made, I did it all by myself, blah, blah, blah. And that's cool, but that's not a lot of people's actual reality. I'm very big on, like I said from the beginning, I'm a nurse at heart. I'm a people person.
Right.
So, we get so much further when we work together and when we have the right people around us.
Yeah, I love that definition. I appreciate you sharing that. So as you think about where you're going, just your career, your life, your family, who are some people that you would want to collaborate with, or who are the types of people? So say, for example, if somebody's listening right now, they hear you speaking, they get excited. How would they know if there's someone that you would want to collaborate with? Who do you look for to collaborate with when it comes to the things that you've got going on, Ginger?
So as far as my business and speaking, I definitely want to collaborate with people who are doing the work with our youth. So mentors, guidance counselors, coaches, just anybody who has connections with young people. I would love that, because I'm still also doing my research, which I learned 2021 taught me to do your research. All right. Like, it's great to feel things and think things, but do your research. And so I'm very much still in the process of having conversations to find out how I can be of service and what the issues are that are being seen, because I'm not in the education world or whatever directly connected to our young people at this moment per se.
Yeah.
I did just finish serving with a local youth group, and that was such an eye-opening experience for me, and I loved it. But right now I'm looking for opportunities to serve and have conversations. But so that's for like my personal brand. And then I love making friends and like finding new people to hang out with, as long as you have like a certain type of mentality, which is pretty much that like go-getter, like always trying to better yourself, always trying to learn. Because a lot of people, they try to be with the it person or the big names, but me, I want to be with the people who are next up, who you don't know about us yet, but you're gonna know soon. Like,
come
I'm
on,
trying to those people.
that's why we connected, because you and I are in the next up. We're on the next up. You know what I'm saying? Some people might say, "Nah, YB, they know you." Nah, it's still some people that don't know me. I'm next up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that we connected on that. So as we begin to land the plane, Ginger, let's talk a little bit about. I'm gonna throw a little bit of a curveball your way, right? So, as you know, this is the Self-Published in 30 Days podcast, where we focus on attracting aspiring authors and converting them to published authors. So, say for example, you're about to write your next book or your first book. I'm not sure where you are in that process, but let's say you're about to write a book, and you could travel anywhere in the world to write your book, and I was paying for it. Where would you travel to?
Wow, what a question. And it's a hard question because I love to travel, but I guess I would want to go somewhere in Africa. And I know that that's such a broad answer. I don't know which country. Like I have family friends that are from Kenya
Okay.
and they're beautiful people. And I'm not sure where I'm from. My roots go back to exactly, it might be Nigeria.
Okay.
I don't know. And this is an ideal world where COVID doesn't exist. Because I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
even
oh yeah, because even now, like so so just for historical perspective, at this moment, when Ginger and I are recording this podcast, there's this thing called COVID-19 that's going on. I think it's now on Omicron. Like they're going through the whole Greek alphabet, right? And so they're locking certain locations down. Like certain people they're not able to come from certain parts in Southern Africa, which is just, hey, it is what it is, right? But I hear you 1000%. It's amazing though. So I asked this question of everyone that comes on to my podcast, and I've had about 4 or 5 people that mention Africa. One brother just said, just drop me anywhere in Africa. It's like wherever it is. I'm like, Africa's a large continent, right? He's like, I don't care. Drop me anywhere in Africa. Then I had someone that said Nigeria, Ivory Coast. So it's a beautiful thing to do that. And I asked that question, and I'm going to tell you this, and I haven't told other people this, but I asked people that question because what people don't realize is that we live in a really big world.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
This world is super big, right? And so it's meant to be explored. But there's certain places in the world that will help us to gain the inspiration that we need to get a big project like writing a book done, right? So I always like to hear where people would want to travel to. Plus, I do something special for the people who have come on the podcast. So just expect something special from me as a result of answering that question. So we're gonna wrap up, but I do want you to share what is one thing that you want to leave with the listeners that's important to you, whether it's pertaining to collaboration, whether it's pertaining to just in life in general. What's one thing that's on your heart right now that you would want to share with those that are listening and watching this recording?
I love that your podcast is about collaboration and just connecting with people. I think it can be easy to become discouraged about finding your tribe or that person or whatever it is that you are seeking. But I have learned that the people are out there and they're going to come alongside you as you go on your journey. I had know people say that it's lonely at the top, but I believe that as you get to the top, you're going to meet people along the way. And so I just want to encourage people to get around the right people because it makes such a difference. That's why we're here on this podcast. That's why I know you know Shelly Shelton. I
Shelly
just have
Shelton.
Lions prayer.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I mean, I'm the only reason I can sit here and talk to you in this space is because I have my family watching my daughter. So don't try to do this by yourself.
Come on. Come on. You preaching real good. You preaching real good, Ginger. Please don't attempt to do this thing by yourself, right? There are people, and I'm glad that you shared that because that's really the essence of this podcast, right? So I'm a connector. Most people know I'm a connector, and so there's 3 things that I'm striving to do when I do these podcasts. Number 1 is I'm looking to increase the visibility of people in my network, right? So there are people that but there's people that don't know that you exist. So what this does is it helps people to find you. Number 2, it helps you to promote yourself, right? And then number 3, it gives me an opportunity to do what I do best, which is to promote and connect, right? So at the end of the day, if we operate in our purpose and realize that there's somebody out there that wants to help us, as you all have heard, Ginger wants to connect with those who want to impact young people. So if you're that person, you want to reach out to Ginger. So Ginger, how can people connect with you if they love what they heard, if they're excited about the things that you do, if they say, hey, I played college basketball too, and I was a nurse, I'd love to connect with you. What's the best way for people to connect with you so that they can continue the conversation?
I think the best way to connect is Instagram, honestly, because I try to show up there regularly and I'm always putting positivity on my social media, especially Instagram. So definitely check me out on Instagram. My handle is Ginger and Fit. So everybody gets excited, like, okay, fitness. And I'm like, no, it's just the first 3 letters of my last name. and my middle initial.
I
Ginger.
was one of those people. I thought you was a fitness guru. I'll be honest with you. So
People think that. I mean, I am big on fitness for sure. I have my sneakers on right now because I'm gonna go to the gym when we're done.
yeah, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
it's
Well,
my last.
I don't want to hold you from going to the gym. Thank you so much for just investing your most valuable asset, your time with us here at Self Publishing 30 Days, YB's Collaboration Corner, where our focus is on encouraging aspiring authors to become self-published authors, and we let folks know that this is the year for their new book. For those of you who are listening, definitely connect with Ginger. She's got a great spirit, and remember, I told you here first. Within 2 years, Ginger's going to attract Cardi B to her podcast. If I have anything to do with that, I might end up in New York. I might end up bumping into her in Times Square, and I'm like, listen, Cardi, listen, I know you don't know me from Adam yet, but there's a young lady that I think you should connect with. I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna just do a quick selfie, boy, and I'm gonna make the introduction. So just know that might happen. I like to speak things into existence. So, Ginger, thank you so much. Connect with Ginger, get with her, and just let her know that you heard about her through the YB's Collaboration Corner, Self Publishing 30 Days podcast. I want you to be encouraged. Be blessed. Most of all, continue to share the faith. And the way that you do that is by walking in your gift, because your gift will make room for you. We'll see you next time. Peace.